Welcome back to your stimulus package update. Can you just ghost the people of the United States and not do your job for months and months and months and still be employed and compensated greatly? Apparently you can if you work in politics. The House of Representatives did not vote on the physical infrastructure bill, leaving behind many broken promises. Nancy Pelosi promised the $1.2 trillion bill would be voted on September 27th. Never happened. Then she said the vote would be delayed until September 30th. Didn't happen. And then she pushed it back once again to October 1st. Again, it did not happen. Nancy Pelosi never had the votes and finally admitted defeat, throwing up the white flag Friday evening, admitting that more time is needed to pass the bill. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Dick Durbin are all now saying October 31st, Halloween, will be the new target date for both infrastructure bills. Chuck said, "Our goal is to get it done in the next month. Both bills, get them passed. We need everyone, unity in both our caucuses." Schumer is demanding that Pelosi put the stimulus bill in writing and get it on his desk this week. Chuck says he's tired of playing games with getting this deal done. In his letter to Democrats, Chuck said, "Doing really big things all at once is really hard. Let me be clear about the task ahead of us. We must get a bill to the president's desk dealing with the debt limit by the end of the week. Period. We do not have the luxury of waiting until October 18th. Also in the letter, Schumer warned of potential weekend work as Congress approaches the deadline for the debt ceiling.
If Republicans don't get out of the way and let the Senate take action now, our government will in all likelihood enter default for the first time ever. Sadly, the Republican position as the party of default has now become so extreme that they've blocked every single attempt to prevent a default from happening, putting our country in serious danger. The bottom line is this chamber must pass legislation to avoid a default. Accordingly, I will soon file cloture on the House-passed proposal that will suspend the debt limit until December of 2022.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell fired right back at Chuck Schumer.
The majority needs to stop sleepwalking toward yet another preventable crisis. Democrats need to tackle the debt limit. We gave them a roadmap and 3 months notice. I suggest that our colleagues get moving.
Schumer also responded to the protesters who confronted Senator Sinema and followed her into a bathroom over the weekend, saying it was over the line. However, back in January, Joe Biden told staffers that he would fire you on the spot if you didn't treat others with respect. When asked about the tactics of activists harassing Senator Sinema in the bathroom, he very softly criticized and downplayed it as, quote, part of the process.
Mr. President, you're talking about how you have 48 Democratic votes right now. The other two have been pressured over the weekend by activists. Joe Manchin had people on kayaks show up to his boat to yell at him. Senator Sinema last night was chased into a restroom. Do you think that those tactics are crossing a line?
I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody. From the only people it doesn't happen to are people who have Secret Service standing around them. It's part of the process, yes.
So the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill is not ready yet, and as we've heard time and time again, Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin have vowed to vote no on it.
Schumer has ruled out using reconciliation to move ahead.
Anything. We just can't let the debt ceiling elapse. We just can't.
So does that mean that you're open to potentially even killing the filibuster?
The filibuster has nothing to do with the debt ceiling. Basically, we have other tools that we can use, and if we have to use them, we should use them.
Joe Manchin makes $500,000 a year from one of the dirtiest coal plants in West Virginia, and this bill would interfere with that income. Joe makes more than twice his salary as a U.S. Senator from the coal plant. To be specific, according to his most recent financial disclosure, Joe Manchin made $492,000 last year from the coal power plant in West Virginia, and his income for being a senator was $174,000. Manchin in the past has argued that his holdings in the company have absolutely not affected his policy decisions, but says he will not vote for the infrastructure bill that could result in the biggest government spending on climate solutions in U.S. history.
What does it say about democracy that you can win in an election by 7 million votes and one person can actually do your entire agenda?
We don't see it that way. We're in the middle of a process. This is democracy. It's not dysfunction. So we're going to keep at it. Go ahead.
As a reminder, Medicare at 60 is effectively off the table in this package as well. On a side note, there is still $1 trillion in unspent money from the previous stimulus packages. That is enough money to fund a fourth round of stimulus checks, each in the amount of $4,000. $4,000 stimulus checks are just sitting there in unspent funds. Last week, we heard Joe Biden basically promising to get these bills passed.
It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter whether it's in 6 minutes, 6 days, or 6 weeks. We're going to get it done.
This week, Biden blasted Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans, accusing their debt stunt of being hypocritical, dangerous, and disgraceful, and calling them out for refusing to pay for the $8 trillion in bills they racked up under Trump.
And Republicans in Congress raised the debt 3 times when Donald Trump was president, and each time with Democrat support. But now they won't raise it, even though they're responsible for more than $8 trillion in bills incurred in 4 years under the previous administration. That's what we'd be paying off. They won't raise it even though defaulting on the debt would lead to a self-inflicted wound that takes our economy over a cliff.
Joseph advised Republicans to stop interfering.
Democrats are willing to do all the work. Republicans just have to let us do our job. Just get out of the way. If you don't want to help save the country, get out of the way so you don't destroy it. We don't have time to delay with elaborate procedural schemes, which Republicans' proposals require.
Biden also said the debt ceiling is controlled by one man.
Guarantee that the U.S. will not reach the debt ceiling, that will not happen?
No, I can't. That's up to Mitch McConnell.
So it's possible that the U.S. will not pay its debt. That is possible.
I can't believe that will be the end result because the consequence is so dire. I don't believe that. But can I guarantee it? If I could, I would, but I can't.
Oh, and we cannot forget President Biden saying in the days ahead, people may see their retirement account values sink and interest rates go up.
And that's when accidents happen. In the days ahead, even before the default date, people may see the value of their retirement accounts shrink. They may see interest rates go up, which will ultimately raise their mortgage payments and car payments. And the American people, look, I just say it this way. As soon as this week, your savings and your pocketbook could be directly impacted by this Republican stunt. It's as simple as that. Republicans say they will not do their part to avoid this needless calamity. So be it. But they need to stop playing Russian roulette with the U.S. economy.
POTUS broke it all down for the American people.
Folks, watching at home, you should know this is the Republican position. Here's it is. They won't vote to raise the debt limit to cover their own spending. Democrats voted with them to cover that spending the previous 4 years. They say Democrats should do it alone. But then they're threatening to use a procedural power called a filibuster, meaning that we'd have to get 60 votes, not 50 votes, to increase the debt limit. This would block the Democrats from meeting our obligations and responsibilities to prevent Congress from raising the debt limit. So let's be clear. Not only are Republicans refusing to do their job, they're threatening to use their power, to prevent us from doing our job, saving the economy from a catastrophic event.
Joe Biden refused to answer a foreign policy question because it would, quote, confuse the American people.
What is more important, that position that Senator Schumer has, or raising the debt ceiling? And then I also have a question for you on Ethiopia.
No, I'm going to answer one. I'm not going to answer Ethiopia. Let's stick on the debt so we don't confuse the American people. Number one.
Speaking of refusing, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says Mitch McConnell is refusing to pay the debts accrued under previous leadership.
I got a little chart here just to give you a little visual. Almost $8 trillion during the Trump administration, $676 billion during the Biden administration. So what Senator McConnell is refusing to do is to pay the debts of what were rung up under his leadership when he was in the Senate, still continues to be, of course, and when Trump was president.
Psaki said Republicans spent like drunken sailors over the past 4 years before President Biden took office.
Why let McConnell off the hook or Republicans off the hook? I mean, this is their debt that they chalked up themselves. This is a period of time where we could easily solve this in the next 2 days. And easily do that through allowing Democrats to be the adults in the room, despite the fact that Republicans spent like drunken sailors over the last 4 years before President Biden took office. So It's easy to get it done. We did not need to start a long procedural process. That's exactly what that would be. We're not ruling out options because, as I said in response to an earlier question, we have to get this done. We have to get this done to ensure that people don't worry about their retirement savings, don't worry about their college savings for their kids. But it's easy to get it done, and we don't think Republicans should be let off the hook.
The Jen Psaki Peter Newsy show continued yesterday, like always.
Jen, thank you. A group of activists followed Senator Kirsten Sinema into a ladies' room screaming about the Build Back Better plan yesterday. The president said today, I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody and it's part of the process. He is an expert on the process. Has he ever been chased into a restroom by activists?
Let me be clear here, because I think the context of what happened here is very important. And Senator Sinema put out a statement this morning. So as she said, and I would reiterate from here, the protection of the freedom to protest, to speak out, and to criticize is fundamental to our democracy. The president believes that. Maybe he shorthanded it, but he wanted to make that clear this morning. What happened this weekend was that her classroom, her students, and the safe and intellectually stimulating environment she's worked to create during the years she's of teaching at ASU was breached. That's inappropriate and unacceptable. And I think the context of what happened here is important, despite the fact that, of course, the president stands for the fundamental right of people to protest, to object, to criticize, as they often do outside of the gates of the White House.
So does the White House condemn these protesters who chased her into the restroom?
I just said it was inappropriate and unacceptable. I think that pretty much
not to do that again.
I think that's pretty clear that they shouldn't breach the classroom and make the students feel like their privacy, their intellectually stimulating classroom, and their time as students in college is being broached upon.
Following up on something that you just said, you said that the president's going to have a virtual meeting with House progressives to talk about how this Build Back Better package is now going to be smaller than $3.5 trillion. But you have been saying that it costs zero. So are you now admitting that the plan does not cost zero? Or is it less than zero?
Well, let's not dumb this down for the American public here. What we're talking about is how much the top line investments are, which are all paid for, so therefore it costs zero. No matter what the cost or size of the top line investments are, we have ways to pay for it. So the point is, that's important to the American public, all of your viewers too, is that this is not going to cost the American public $1. We're going to pay for this by asking corporations, the highest income, so people under $400,000, I should say, corporations' highest income, to cover the cost of these necessary investments.
So just to not dumb it down then, does the plan cost nothing or is the plan free?
The plan costs nothing for the American people who make less than $400,000. If you think that companies that paid zero in taxes last year, 50 of the top companies should continue to pay zero in taxes, we're happy to have that debate.
During a recent interview, AOC was asked about her social media strategy.
My teenage daughter reminded me of this Instagram video that you did that made me and her both laugh when you responded to Sarah Palin's criticisms of you.
My existence make you mad? Does the fact that, yes, I am a mouthpiece for the people of New York's 14th Congressional District upset you? Well, I have help for you. Call 1-800-CRY-NOW. It's 1-800-CRY-NOW.
I have to ask, you're famous for dunking on GOP politicians. Do you come up with this stuff yourself? Is it something you just have a habit and a like for? Do you have a whole team of people coming up with these dunks?
I really do. Yeah, no. There's people that have all these theories that, like, I have some sort of intern or something on my Twitter account or on my Instagram, but I would never let someone who works for me run with that kind of messaging. It's a little too spicy, but I'll do it myself. And so, however, my Facebook my Facebook and our official account, we have teams, we have organizers that are helping us because my full-time job is not to post. Is my part-time, right?
Your full-time job is not to post, but a lot of our viewers, I'm sure, at home enjoy the dunking.
In other news, West Virginia Governor Jim Justice, who has been begging everyone to get vaccinated over the past few months, threw everyone a curveball when he said this.
Are you going to mandate it for school kids as well?
No chance.
Why?
No chance.
Why? You mandate as governor, you mandate, we looked, measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, polio, other vaccines. Why won't you put COVID on that list?
Now, Margaret, you don't have to come in so hot. You guys asked me to come, But, Margaret, the bottom line of the whole thing is just this. I truly believe that the mandates only divide us and only divide us more. From the standpoint of mandates, I don't believe in imposing upon our freedoms over and over and over.
Here now is a quick peek at the same Department of Justice that is fighting to keep mask mandates at your kids' school. Elon Musk recently moved to the #1 spot, replacing Jeff Bezos as the world's richest person. Surprisingly, Musk admitted he doesn't receive a salary and his cash compensation is zero.
With respect to my personal taxes, I don't actually draw a salary or anything. My cash compensation is basically zero. I do have stock options that vest, and so in the years that I basically with Tesla and SpaceX, I just have not really bothered to sort of take money off the table, which is a common, most people do. They sell some of their stock and they take money off the table. And for me, I just like said, my money will be the sort of, it was the first in and it'll be the last out. The success of SpaceX and Tesla was far from assured, and there are many times when it looked like the companies would, and they did, they skirted bankruptcy many times, but I never tried to take money off the table. And now this is trying to be turned around and made into a bad thing, and that's messed up. But when my stock options, just before my stock options expire, then I am forced to exercise, and my top marginal tax rate is 53%. So I don't think that's particularly low, and it's going to go up next year. It's like 57% or something.
And you sell?
Yes, and I have a bunch of options that are expiring early next year. So a huge block of options will sell in Q4 because I have to. They'll expire, and my top marginal tax rate is 53%.
So you eventually will pay a lot of taxes.
Massive, yeah. I mean, basically the majority of what I sell will be taxed.
If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like by pressing the thumbs up button and subscribe if you'd like to see more update videos like these. That's the latest stimulus package updates for today. As always, I truly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you soon. Have an incredible day, and